Have you ever wondered why Americans just can't stop praising Singapore in 2025? What makes this tiny island nation capture the hearts of people from one of the world's biggest powers? Is it the cleanliness, the efficiency, the safety, or something deeper, something that reflects a vision of what America wishes it could be? Welcome to Infosphere. Today we're diving deep into the truth about why Americans can't stop praising Singapore in 2025. From its futuristic infrastructure to its rock-solid governance, Americans are seeing Singapore as the ideal example of how a small country can achieve greatness without chaos. But is it really that perfect, or is there more to the story? Let's find out. So before we start, don't forget to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications, because we're about to explore a story that reveals how one Asian nation has earned the admiration of the world's most powerful country. Governance that actually works. One of the biggest reasons Americans can't stop praising Singapore is its efficient and transparent government. While the United States often deals with gridlock, political division, and slow reforms, Singapore stands out as a nation where policies actually get implemented. Americans look at Singapore's model and see something they crave, a government that delivers results instead of endless debates. Singapore's leadership, rooted in long-term planning, focuses on progress rather than political gain. In 2025, Americans are amazed at how Singapore continues to rise in the global rankings for transparency, efficiency, and trust in government, something the US has been struggling with for decades. For many American visitors and analysts, Singapore represents a dream version of governance, where policies are based on practicality and not partisan agendas. A city that feels like the future. When Americans visit Singapore, they often say it feels like stepping into the future. The city's skyline, smart transportation systems, and technological integration in everyday life make it one of the most futuristic cities on Earth. From AI-powered traffic control to energy-efficient buildings, Singapore is showing the world how to blend progress with sustainability. Americans coming from cities where infrastructure is aging and public transportation systems lag behind see Singapore as a glimpse of what modern cities could be. In 2025, with its push toward becoming a smart nation, Singapore has integrated digital technology into almost every sector, from healthcare to education to public services. For many Americans, this is not just impressive, it's inspirational. Cleanliness and order that America can't match. Let's face it, Singapore's cleanliness and order have become legendary worldwide. For Americans used to graffiti-covered walls, overflowing trash cans, and disorderly public spaces, the spotless streets of Singapore feel like another planet. Every corner of the city-state seems to reflect discipline, responsibility, and respect for shared spaces. Americans often point out that Singapore's laws, like strict penalties for littering and vandalism, may seem harsh, but they work. Instead of chaos, Singapore thrives in order, which is why so many visitors from the US call it the cleanest country they've ever seen. In 2025, that admiration has only grown as Singapore continues to maintain its pristine reputation while still welcoming millions of tourists each year. Safety that Americans envy. In a time when safety concerns dominate the headlines in America, rising crime rates, gun violence, and public unrest, Singapore stands as a beacon of peace and security. The city-state is consistently ranked among the safest countries in the world, and in 2025 it remains a place where residents can walk freely at night without fear. Americans are fascinated by how Singapore maintains this safety without turning into an authoritarian state. It's a perfect balance. Strict laws, efficient law enforcement, and a strong social fabric built on trust and accountability. For many Americans, this is something they deeply admire and wish they could replicate back home. Economic stability that inspires respect. While the US economy continues to fluctuate with inflation, political disputes, and social inequality, Singapore's economy remains stable, innovative, and forward-looking. Americans see Singapore as a country that managed to go from a struggling island to a global financial hub within one generation, and that story inspires deep respect. In 2025, Singapore's economy continues to attract American investors and companies who appreciate its business-friendly policies, low corruption rates and global connectivity. The city-state has become the go-to base for US companies expanding into Asia. Americans see this success and can't help but admire how Singapore gets it right, by balancing capitalism with social responsibility. Education that builds the future. Another major reason Americans praise Singapore is its world-class education system. In global rankings, Singapore's students consistently outperform those from most developed countries, including the United States. Americans often marvel at how a small nation can produce such disciplined, intelligent, and creative young minds. In 2025, with technology and innovation reshaping global education, Singapore has continued to lead through adaptability. Its schools emphasize not just memorization, but critical thinking and creativity, qualities that Americans value highly. The US sees Singapore's education system as a model that nurtures both intellect and character, something that many American parents wish their own schools could achieve. Multicultural harmony that actually works. Singapore's multicultural society fascinates Americans. While racial tension and social division remain major challenges in the US, Singapore stands out as a place where diversity is celebrated without chaos. Chinese, Malays, Indians, and people from all over the world live together in harmony, building a society that thrives on mutual respect. Americans often highlight Singapore as proof that diversity doesn't have to divide, it can unite. The city's policies promote inclusion, equality, and fairness, while its citizens uphold strong values of respect and tolerance. In 2025, when global polarization is at its peak, Americans admire how Singapore manages to stay united while remaining proudly multicultural. Public transport that makes Americans jealous. Ask any American visitor what impressed them most, and many will mention Singapore's public transportation system. It's punctual, affordable, clean, and incredibly efficient. While Americans deal with traffic jams, broken subway systems, and unreliable buses, Singaporeans glide smoothly across the city with ease. The mass rapid transit, MRT system, taxis and buses are all seamlessly integrated, making car ownership optional, not necessary. In 2025, Americans praise Singapore as a model of urban mobility, something their own cities are still struggling to achieve despite having far more resources. Green living in a modern world. Despite being highly urbanized, Singapore has managed to stay green, sustainable, and environmentally conscious. Americans love the fact that Singapore has turned itself into a city in a garden. From rooftop gardens to eco-friendly buildings, sustainability isn't just a trend, it's a lifestyle. In 2025, while the US continues to debate climate policies, Singapore has already implemented them. The nation's commitment to renewable energy, water recycling, and environmental innovation makes Americans view it as a climate hero. For many, Singapore is living proof that development and sustainability can go hand in hand. Leadership that Americans respect. At the heart of Singapore's success lies its strong, visionary leadership. Americans see in Singapore's leaders a kind of wisdom and discipline that's often missing in their own political system. Instead of focusing on popularity, Singapore's leaders focus on long-term national goals, and that difference earns massive respect from Americans. In 2025, as Singapore continues to grow under steady leadership, Americans praise its political stability and clear vision. They see it as an example of what's possible when leadership is based on service, not self-interest. Singapore's success story has become a symbol of what a small nation can achieve through unity, hard work, and foresight. So, why can't Americans stop praising Singapore in 2025? Because Singapore represents everything they dream of. Clean streets, safe communities, efficient governance, multicultural unity, and a future built on progress and vision. It's not about size or power. It's about purpose and discipline. Singapore proves that greatness doesn't depend on being the biggest. It depends on being the best at what you do. And that's something the world, especially America, deeply respects. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to Infosphere, hit the like button, and share your thoughts below. Do you think America could ever become like Singapore? Thank you for watching. And as always, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep discovering the world